Hello everyone, this is Tim with Paintball Tek. Got a quick rebuild video for you guys today. This is one of the older Bob Long autococker regs that was sold for a while on, I want to say late 90s. Came on, some of his Signature Series Autocockers, things like that. So, just gonna show you how to refresh one of these old classics. So it is a three-piece design. You have the top cap, main body, bottom cap here, gauge port, and a input port. It should be labeled. One says in, one says out, so you shouldn't be able to get those mixed up. Start with the bottom of the reg here. So this cap unscrews. This is just basically a decorative cap, nothing to it. Then this is the adjustment screw for your pressure. It's slotted for use of something like a quarter or something like that if you have to adjust it under pressure, but usually without any pressure in it, it's loose enough that you can just get it out by hand. Just unscrew. Once the cap's out, you also have the main reg spring, this very stiff little robust spring here that sits inside the adjustment screw like that. It goes in there. There is the brass main piston inside this housing. Now, usually there's nothing to grab onto, so you kind of have to force this out. Easiest way to do it, they usually come out pretty easily. Just kind of turn it over and whack it on a table. Actually, didn't even need to. That's loose enough. So that piston falls out. So that's everything in the bottom side. The top side can be stuck every now and then if it's been sitting for quite a while, or if there's some paint residue or something like that that got in between these two halves. It can be kind of a pain to get off. Luckily, this is big enough and easy enough to stick into a vise with some rubber or leather so that you're not going to scratch it, and then you can use your leverage to twist the bottom off. This one's already fairly loose. It's in good condition, so it comes off pretty simple. There's the top piece. This just has a single O-ring on it, so no 1.5 tank ring. And then on the top here, you have the sealing O-ring around this edge, and then inside you have the brass upper. So to get that out, same thing with the bottom one, there's really nothing to grab onto. If you have this one out already, you can use a fine Allen key to kind of push it up from the bottom, or use a good old way of whacking it on a table. There you go. Now, with the brass upper, it should have a small spring and a reg seat seal, and then here's the seat itself, which also came out, which is kind of handy, and then an O-ring right here. So that's the order in which everything goes in: bottom, middle, top, and then the cap like this. The reg seats are just a stamped polyurethane disc. Honestly, the War Games ram bumpers are very similar, just slightly bigger. It's the same material though, so if you have one of these that's old and damaged, I would get like a ram bumper that's in good shape. You can find these, I believe Paintball Gateway sells them. If they're not on their website, you can probably call them and have one sent. You may have to just cut down the edges slightly to get the same size. It will fit in the hole, but it's a very tight squeeze. If you want to try and force it down there, it should work though. But This one's in decent shape. It's a little yellowed from age, but it's not brittle, still kind of springy. So we're going to go ahead and leave this one in. Just drop it back in the hole. Make sure it seats flat. And then we're going to go ahead and replace the other seals in here. So, like I said, this one is a standard 015 tank ring. Over here. 70 or 90 durometer, doesn't really matter. 70 is the softer, 90 is the harder. I'm going to replace this one on this part here, the upper. This is a number 10 O-ring. 010. Okay. Seal one. Then this is very delicate, this little tiny spring and this chaser here. So these go in this housing. Make sure they're nice and springy. This rig uses oil, not grease. Although, you could probably use like a silicone grease or something along those lines. I always rebuilt them with oil, so. Oil up the O-ring. Oil up the walls where that O-ring sits. And then turn the housing over so this spring part doesn't come out. And just press this piece into the cavity where the reg seat is. All the way down so it seats against that seal. It doesn't fall off. Now, the other O-ring on this body here is obviously the sealing ring. It's got a groove around the top edge of the reg body. Use a dental pick to pull it out. This is a size 19, a 19. You can just grab a new one and press it into the groove like that. Put a little bit of oil on there so it creates a nice sealing surface. Also makes it easier to unscrew this top later. You can screw the top back on like that. Now back to the bottom of the reg, the main piston here. Use a dental pick and peel off this old seal. Replace it with a new one. Size on this one is a number 12-012. 012 seal. Some oil on here. And this just drops in from the bottom. It gets pushed into place. Just like that. And then in goes your adjuster screw with its small spring. Just kind of hold the rig upside down and drop that in. Then cap screws on, decorative cap, like that. And wipe off any excess oil on the outside as always. Clean up your workspace. And your reg should be ready to go for your next adventure. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good day.